Good evening, sirs and madams. It's your buddy Admiral Teague. How you doing out there? It's good to see you all. I'm sorry I'm off brand tonight. I didn't have anything New York to just throw right on, but let's dive right into it as we sit in the very, very canny and very, very attractive Silicon Valley we think it's a Silicon Valley. Germ, have you heard that people like you and I really just are the problem with Star Trek?
I've been told that before.
Yes. Now, you've heard of that Park Place. They're pretty reputable, right? And we all know this.
Yeah.
And oh wow, something's just hitting the outer radar there. The sensors seem to have detected something.
Admiral Teague, incoming super chat.
All right. Hey, Ruby Hoof, thank you for gifting one Admiral Teague membership to a member of our community. It's very much appreciated. And that goes to Mr. Niblick. I think that's how to say it. I did some research on that. We AI'd that name. We hope we got it right. But if we're wrong, just put it in phonetically, and we'll have our phonetical people check it out. Hello to everyone out there. We've got the Real Head Case, Ruby Hoove, of course. Mr. Niblick, if I'm saying that correctly. Hello to Resolute, who's here with me. Sig Valdison is out there. Hello, Sig. Stream for the perfectly pretty red button to be pushed. Yeah, well, you know what? I'm almost there as far as with Star Trek, although even critical drinkers really, really big time takedown of it was really he kept. Did you watch it, Charm?
No,
It was
I can barely
merciless.
see what we do for that episode.
I can't say I blame you. It's a lot of Star Trek. He feels much the same way about it as you do, and I would refer to his outlook on it as merciless.
Glad to see he has a high opinion of the show.
He seems to think it's the worst program ever made, just like we do. He's on the same page with us. It was weird. Disparu said that Strange New Worlds was the worst Star Trek ever and the most destructive. And the thing is, as far as destructive, he he's sort of right as far as how like they tee off on canon and they tee off on lore and they have all these like little like terrible missions and stuff that they're looking to do, but Starfleet Academy has been so ineptly made that it's doing damage that they didn't anticipate. What's your take on the situation with that?
Yeah, that's pretty much what it's doing. If I could understand making a show like this, if this was the height of Star Trek and you were flooding the market with everything you could.
So, like the
Think
cartoon James
19,
Bond Jr., like from back in
yeah,
the day, James Bond Jr., it just couldn't fail.
think 1984 Masters of the Universe, where they would slap the name on literally every show, every piece of merchandise they could. Just look at that movie they made in '87. This is the back end of a mass rush to take advantage of something that is hugely popular. You're making product for everybody, but the 13 to 16-year-old girl demographic is not a Star Trek watching demographic.
And this is not, well, the thing is, you would say, okay, we're set. It's not a Star Trek show, right, guys? But, and hello, Tony. Did I say hi to Tony? Tony, up to like, was it 450,000 subs or 4,500 subs? We don't know. YouTube lies to us. I think, it might have been as good as 5,500. Way to go, Tony. And if it's not 5,500, you'll be there in a couple of weeks. We're doing all right, too, with 200 people in the community join the channel in the year. Thank you and welcome aboard. Hit those like and follows, and welcome to bonus Friday show, because it doesn't look like I'll be around next Tuesday. But we had a great show last Tuesday. Germ, people would have us have everyone believe that the problem with Star Trek is just you and I, and that our expectations are too high, and that we came to this show, that wasn't made for us, and expected to claim it for ourselves. To which I say, I was more than willing to share my Star Trek, but this isn't my Star Trek or any kind of Star Trek that I recognize.
No, this isn't Star Trek anyone would recognize.
Well,
It's like they don't know who they're making product for.
It's hard not to stutter before you speak because disbelief is still very, very, very strong. Hello, Radioactive Actual. Radioactive Actual. Maybe we'll have you on next week if you want for the next new Trek adventure. You could rotate in from the Paramount panel. We certainly want to reward the people who did the Paramount by letting them enjoy some of the big chunk of insanity that is New Trek, and it is so much to work with. But here right now is the tweet in question. Now, this tweet, this post, whatever you want to call it, was called into question by That Park Place as newsworthy, and it is. It's a newsworthy thing. Like Star Trek, even if we were talking about something left over from World War II, it was big enough, long enough ago that there's still a degree of interest in it, and there's a reason to care a little bit about Star Trek. And oh wow. I just got a reading on the long range sensors. Let me see if I can't clear that up.
Admiral Teague, please stop using copyrighted material. Admiral Teague, incoming super chat.
Hey, a generous $5 United States of America super chat from my good friend Radioactive Actual from the Paramount panel says, if Hogwarts is so great, why don't they market it in the Middle East? Sir, I think we know exactly why they don't market that one in the Middle East. You know what?
Yeah,
Unlike the other fun things that are haram, this one is just like none of this is fun. This might be a case for bringing back the Taliban. If I was forced to watch only this and this was all I knew of Western culture, I would be like, music is evil. What do you think?
Yeah, it doesn't give us the best reflection in those places.
No, it's a dark and evil mirror. So Christopher Cushman, at Christopher Cushman 2, it's spelled very much the way you would expect with C's, right? Negative review bombing of Academy likely to end the possibility of shows like Legacy, as well as put Trek into a 10 to 15 year hiatus. That sounds a little exaggerated, that part. Other stuff I'm with. Honestly, with much of the negative rhetoric coming out before the airing of the first episode based on the trailer and stills. To which I say, this was justified rhetoric, and thank you, Radioactive. This was justified rhetoric, and this update brought to you by Radioactive and the Radioactive Star Trek News Awareness Network. So here's the guy's screen cap, and I guess this was the original exchange. Here we go. I guess this comes from like him working with Grok, cutting out a Grok answer, and then we have something cut from maybe Hollywood Reporter. It says, one smart fan even asked an artificial intelligence bot if intentionally killing Starfleet Academy would somehow perversely encourage Paramount to finally decide to produce a series concept that fans have been clamoring for in vain for the last few years since the series finale of Star Trek Picard, known as Star Trek Legacy. No one is clamoring for this one, Jerm. Are you aware of what it is?
Yeah, it's that lunatic idea they got when Picard 3 didn't entirely bomb.
It wasn't that. I think it's the lunatic idea that was supposed to be Picard 3 that got laughed out of the pitch room, and that they had to wrap the Picard 3 shell around because that show was mostly about Jerry Ryan and Raffi looking at each other. And a lot of emotions in corridors.
It kind of had to be. Their TNG crew was too busy shuffling around on their walkers from set to set.
There was still some good moments. The highlight of all of Picard 3 was Riker trying to take a punch at the changeling who just kicked his ass anyway. But it was like, if anyone's going to hit my wife, it'll be me, you changeling piece of shit. You know, that was like, at least he was manly.
Well, tried to be manly.
Well, yeah, he got owned right away. The race to take out the planet is definitely on, Sig. And hey, go Badgers 95, right? Hey, it's good to see you, sir. Aloha snack bar to you too, sir. If only you would open your mind and accept it. Yeah, open your heart. Open your heart. Yeah, So here's what they're saying is the bottom line the AI came up with. And by the way, this AI could have been like the AIs are always very favorable because what they do is they go on to Reddit and there's as much fake stuff on Reddit about how great Star Trek is as there is bad stuff on Reddit that's real about how bad Star Trek is. So the fake stuff about how good it is, that is like what I call review boosting. There is no review bombing. There is an organic rejection of Star Trek, and that's the way I would see it. Yeah, that's how Captain Gaddafi from Starfleet Academy would say, "Hey, John the Beagle Dad, good to see you, my friend." So this is the terrible consequences we're facing, Jerm. You ready for this? Okay, get ready to absorb this one. So, if fans actually succeeded in tanking Starfleet Academy, which that acts like it's worth saving, the most likely outcomes would be Legacy becomes less likely. No one wants it. It's been like I consider that a once rejected project. Thoughts on Legacy and if anyone wants it?
It was never going to happen. The only human being on this planet who ever wanted it was
Kurtzman.
Well, not even Kurtzman. What's his name? Who actually was in charge of Picard 3?
Terry Matalas.
Yeah, Matalas.
I honestly think Picard 3 was a salvage job on a 7 of 9 show. I think Picard 1 was a salvage job on a 7 of 9 show. It's such a salvage job that rather than have a reason for Picard to meet 7 of 9, she literally not only crashes the show, but she crashes into their ship in space where you can go in literally any direction where there's nothing but space. It's not called confinement. It's called space. And she somehow manages to crash her ship into theirs in the middle of all that space. And she's like, driver. Yeah, right. She's a Fenris Ranger, whatever that is, never gets defined. When we talk about it, some people are like scoffing at how vengeful and evil they are. And then later on, when they have to recontextualize it, like they're not as edgy, they're nice and whatever. It seemed to be like the middle of the Picard show with all that weird stuff with her and the new recast Hugh and the XBs, the former Borg and all that stuff. It seemed to be like that nonsense was like that was the show they tried to make. It collapsed and they convinced Sir Patrick like extended cameos in a few episodes, 2 real episodes. We'll call the show Picard. It'll be great. You'll be responsible for saving Star Trek. Hello, Sith Dan. What do you think of my hypothesis on that one for Legacy? It was always like Picard was a Skinwalker show. It was Legacy. It was they're trying to sell Legacy.
It certainly is possible.
Next threat: Trek TV enters a cooling off period. Like what do you mean? Like Chernobyl?
This guy seems to have a lot of good ideas of what the franchise needs. Death to the new product, cooling off period, and then a relaunch.
The AI is right, and it's just like it's not saying these things in a judgmental way. It's just saying them very unemotionally, which an AI you would expect from. I don't like when Grok is like, "I get you, bruh," but you know what? As I look at this, like, so 2 of 2 of the things that could happen, they're not really threats. I find Legacy not happening at all, not just to be like having it be less likely to be no big deal, like. I desire to have no Star Trek Legacy show. How about you?
As I said, Matalas is probably the only human being on Earth who thought that was a good idea.
But I mean,
even Jerry Ryan thought that was a good idea, and she was the one looking to get the most money out of it.
All she was going to get, in my opinion, was steady SAG, regular wage. She's only worth that, and that's all they got. And she was willing to do it. She's like, fuck it, it's like 5 to 6 days a week of work. I don't think she considered how they do business. And I think now, like, that she's out of the contracts and all that, the NDA hasn't gone away and she hasn't said anything bad about them because she believes all that wild shit. But she showed that she was just an actress and a useful idiot. It was a little bit sad to see how bad that one was and how, like, their vision for a Jerry Ryan show. And hell, Badger, hell. It's good to see you, man. So third threat, executives grow wary of the audience. That the AI is just wrong. They have never had enough respect to think that we are a formidable force.
No, the executive should fear the audience, no matter what your property.
You and I have worked together now for over 2 years. I'll ask you a question. You've seen my track record. You've heard with other friends and mutuals of ours, including some people who aren't here to speak for themselves anymore. I'm not asking you to speak on their behalf, but like, can you look at the back of Admiral Teague's baseball card as we have people coming in? Welcome to everybody. And would you say that I have, when I say I can claim 50,000 views reduced from New Trek to the back of my baseball card, I'm probably right. I'm probably the Pete Rose of taking views away from New Trek.
Yeah, that's a pretty fair assessment.
There are more than 40 episodes of New Trek that I've covered, and a lot of them go 2000. So it might be more. I would say that I probably took the curiosity factor away from at least 25,000 fans with my 40,000 views, because like the chat was rolling with disbelief as we showed people, because seeing is believing. And we debunked some of these Star Trek rumors, like how it was good and how Strange New Worlds is this great show that just nobody watched. And you like how I'm out of uniform tonight? I don't have my Tachyon Pulse jacket on. I have my Admiral Teague, like would this be my Section 32 jacket, since like I don't want to associate with Section 31? My all black Starfleet sweat jacket.
Oh yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Admiral Teague, incoming super chat.
Ruby Hoover, I appreciate your gratitude and your vote of confidence in bringing yet another member into our community with another Admiralty gift membership. I really appreciate it. We have a pretty good sized community. A lot of people enjoy the member streams. We've been doing them live now, and it's been a lot of fun. And here's a guy that I have a lot of respect for, the J-Man. In fact, after we get done with this, maybe we'll watch the J-Man's review for next week's Enterprise episode. If you guys don't know the J-Man, you should check out his channel. He is a great guy and a great YouTuber. His comics game is great, but one of the things that people may not realize about the J-Man is that J-Man is also a really good Star Trek guy. He knows his Star Trek stuff, and he is for the moment. And I hope the J-Man doesn't mind, because like he knows I just absolutely love and respect him. J-Man, sir, it is my plan to supplant you, as he is currently the #1 result for Google Images for most episodes of Star Trek Enterprise. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, J-Man's a great guy and a great Star Trek guy. He has reviewed every episode. Let me go to his channel and harvest that link for you. You guys, if you like my channel and you dig comics, and we've brought comics into the aesthetic, learned a bit from watching the J-Man. He's got this YouTube game down. He's got his perspective. He's much more comics than he is sci-fi, but he does cover sci-fi stuff in movies and current events in pop culture. He's dialed in. Check out the J-Man. He's a great guy. You're going to love him. But Germ, so the franchise loses momentum and budget is the final threat. Anybody out there wants to react to this, tell us in the chat, or if you're coming through later, comment. But this to be like, so no more money for these writers.
Yeah, threaten me with a good time.
Everybody has been saying that about the threats of cancellation and the idea that they would make this go away. Don't threaten me with a good time. It's a little sad. I would say I hate watching the show, but I get together with you guys and I kind of feel like I'm on like a team like the 1927 Yankees. It's like no one is they just have no chance against us with these terrible co-opted stupid stories that were like, even the AI assistants, it's like they didn't bother to follow the plot points and the story doesn't have a logical progression. It sucks.
Well, that's what you get when you let a computer do your story writing.
They should be able to write enough of a script to feed it in, to ask it, to prompt it, just to orient them on like the sequence of events, so they don't end up lost like they do and having to justify time gaps. And like, we've just taken to ignoring the fact that huge amounts of time or no time goes by depending upon what they want, and that could change within the episode. when we go back, and I think we will. Well, let me ask you: will we go back to the middle of that emergency they ditched out on in the middle after the end of episode 6?
No, we're never gonna hear that.
They had what happened? They ran out of money for us to go there and meet the people from the imminent emergency. So what happens will be Tilly and the people from the Discovery will show up at Starfleet Academy to teach a class on how to rescue all the people from the Furies, I guess.
We're never gonna hear those fears again.
They took out a starbase. They took out the USS Saragossa. They're glitchy vampire creatures who are edgy and suck. And Germ's right. We're never going to hear about them ever again. In another piece of so this one was Mr. H reviews was laughing his ass off, saying, you know, exactly what you said. Don't threaten me with a good time. He did a video on this one. We'll live stream it. Negative review bombing of Academy likely to end the possibility of shows like Legacy and put Trek into a 10 to 15 year hiatus. Likely with much of the honestly, with much of the negative rhetoric coming out before the airing of the first episode, based on the trailer and stills. Ellipse. You know what, Germ? People were right to be cynical, and most of the negative comments coming before the episodes dropped was because the amount of conversation dropped off a cliff because people saw it.
Yeah.
Now it's only by the way
you were too light on the trailer and stills.
But the thing is, the trailer and the stills showed the same old stuff: murky special effects, missing fathers, no positive male mentorship, and like held out threats against Deep Space Nine and Voyager. We're supposed to be, you know, enthralled by that. So the trailer was poorly received and got ratioed. Then the first episode ends up on YouTube and just gets absolutely fucking ratioed and destroyed. The Critical Drinker makes a point of spiking the football on its grave. And did you see his video today?
I did not.
He responded to this and other kind of criticism, and he's basically in a video that was very well made in under 8 minutes. So in other words, he didn't want to trigger a mid-roll. He wanted people to be able to watch it straight through. Like he was really trying to connect. Here's a little rule that you should understand on YouTube. I usually don't go over 8 minutes unless I have 8 minutes worth of shit worth to say. I tend to be 5. The last one went to 7. I was glad we were able to cut it off there. I easily could have extended it to 8. A video that's just about only 8 minutes on the money. You can trust me and no one else to only do that one. And I usually like to get it over 8 minutes by a considerable, like not a considerable amount, but a decent amount. If I'm going to throw a mid roll in it, I'm one of the few people who won't mid roll the exactly 8 minute ones, but people do it. They find a way to make the to make it work. But if the video is like 8 minutes on the money, especially if it's a questionable creator, just don't bother with it unless you have premium, because it's going to be it's made to have a mid roll, and it becomes of questionable news veracity. Like, I don't know how many mid rolls he has, but at least Tachyon goes 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I spoke to Tachyon all day today. He liked episode 6.
Well, he's English, so there is a questionable judgment there.
Who do you think would win a fight? A fist fight, him or Az?
Well, you'd have to go with Az. He has the weight, the length, bit crazy.
A bit. Endless reservoir of frustration.
He's been doing this a lot longer than us. The brain damage is quite significantly higher.
You know what? The perspective is also quite unique and very worth listening to, though. He does a great job with Star Trek, as he does with everything else. We admire Az. No shade here. He is what he is, though. I would say this. He had a better chance against Az 2 years ago. Now Az is what, like roughly 18 months, 2 years into not so much training, but like he had like whatever. He went to the British National Institute of Health or whatever his private doctor was or whatever it was, and he had numbers that were absolutely horrible for somebody. And so he stopped with like the sugary drinks. He gave up boozing. He gave up a bunch of stuff. And like as we've seen, he's gone from looking gray and pallid to a lot better, to also thinning out noticeably, to having a lot more life to his eyes, except after he talks about Starfleet Academy, and he just looks more with it. It was nice to see. I think we all are pulling for him. Even non-fans should be happy about that one, right? Because it means you could do it.
Yeah, he's turned it around a lot.
So yeah, I think you would take the Tachyon polls. How do you think? Who do you think would win in a debate? It's slightly more one-sided in the favor of ass.
Yeah, that quickly,
I'm not saying I could do it either. I'm not saying I
that
could
would
do it
degenerate into a WWE promo real quick.
Now, I want to put out there that this article, this post that has generated that Park Place article, it has only managed to stumble to 30,000 views. I mean, I've done that with a mistake viral joke. Okay. But okay. So they're threatening the entire fandom of Star Trek. And here we go with the Park Place story is saying a few things about how the review bombing could end the franchise. But it's the franchise as it's known to the people now. It's not the franchise as known to the fans who always loved it.
Admiral Teague, incoming super chat.
Mr. Radioactive Actual, my friend, Sir Radioactive Actual. The only way with a $10 Greenlandian greenback super chat, the official coin of the United States, but not of Alberta ever. The only way Trek moves forward is to get completely rid of DIE, stay true to Star Trek lore and canon, have real sci-fi in the show, have hot-looking women in the show as guest stars. I would say also a few cast members too. You could have some believables in there, but let's not go ugly and unmilitary again. What do you think, Jerm?
Hey, can't go wrong with hot women.
Radioactive is absolutely right here. I think we can smote this from the stage for a moment so we can look at Sydney. But I think he's absolutely right. Sydney
Sweeney in one of those one-piece TOS outfits.
She should be the first Orion forcibly employed woman that we see. What can I tell you? She's beautiful, and also like Star Trek, it just needs something. Like she costs so much less than Paul Giamatti. Put her in it. It's crazy. Like, how do you justify? You won't put Sydney Sweeney in your Star Trek show, but you will put Paul Giamatti in it. What's going on with that nonsense?
I suspect Paul Giamatti may have taken alternate forms of payment.
We have a free trip to Steinep's Pleasure Planet, sir. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that or a nice powdery substance.
Sir, that was so controversial. Sir.
Which he appears to be on to get through doing this show. I can't imagine how else he'd get through doing this crap. His level of talent and doing this sort of work, there has to be some type of assistance for him not to go on a rampage.
But it's a mystery, and I don't like mysteries. Give me a bellyache, and I got a beauty right now.
At any rate, the core of this dumb article is that, I guess if I had to break it down, how could I put it? The article from that Park Place, which the article's fine, the tweet is stupid, dives into the heated debate surrounding the show and framing it as part of a broader culture war in legacy franchises, which is true. And it highlights claims from the Star Trek artist Christopher Cushman, who warned that X's negative review bombing. So money in the game from Cushman, not interested. Alex Kurtzman could potentially signaling franchise fatigue. No, like we had franchise fatigue, and that went away with a break of only about 4 years. The 10 to 15 years thing is the most ridiculous part of what he says.
Yeah, nothing sits for 10 or 15 years anymore.
By the way, even Red Shirts Always Die and even comics, CBR Comics has said the gap as far as the evidence shows a real disconnect with critics and embracing the show's shifts while fans move away alienated. Yeah, who thought that Star Trek would turn us into the aliens? Am I right?
Yeah, it's a hell of a thing.
It is definitely a hell of a thing and a shock, but you know what? Let me put that back up on screen. Thank you, Mr. I almost said Mr. House Party 6. Thank you, Radioactive Sir. Let me heart that super chat. I think he's right, guys. Give him a thumbs up. The only way to move forward is to completely rid the DEI, stay true to Star Trek. What I think that means, Jerem, would this look like America in a major city as far as your humans? As long as that city's not, say, Detroit or Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, we're not saying we need, like, everybody in Star Trek to be a vanilla fella at all. We also, do you have any problem with the fact that Captain Kirk gets yelled at by a black man in TOS, in Court Martial?
No. Why would I?
So, like, but is that really a woke thing, or was Gene Roddenberry? And thank you, Radioactive, so much, sir. Thank you so much. Was that really a woke thing that that Gene Roddenberry did there? Simply having that 200 years in the future, Kirk's superior was black and displeased with him because there was evidence that he might, in fact, have been a piece of shit. Like, he looked pretty shitty in the evidence that Commodore Stone had. Stone wasn't wrong or a villain. He was simple. He wasn't wrong to think what he thought at the time, and he wasn't a villain. He ended up being wrong, but Commodore Stone wasn't a villain, and he also was not lampooned or treated with disrespect when it turned out he was wrong. He owned up to it, and Kirk just nodded to him. That was the end of it.
Yeah. So the original series especially did a great job of essentially eliminating race from the entire factor.
Also, would you agree that in 1966, the fact that a black guy could end up being a white guy's boss was an overdue conversation that was going to happen in the future one way or another, as proven by that happening and becoming commonplace?
Not really a conversation that was needed, is something that was already in the mid to late 60s happening more and more.
They're overselling it as woke. It's, well, maybe the early 60s, they might have still been in the first few steps of it, but like, there had been major laws passed. There had been major revision in our society, and there had been steps made to try to reconcile and do things that would, make people have a more even playing field. And we had affirmed through action some of these things. You know what I'm talking about, Jerm.
Yeah.
And that went as far as it ever needed to go. As we commemorate the passing of Jesse Jackson the day before yesterday. What was your favorite memory of Reverend Jesse Jackson?
Oh, that last one. Jesse gets a little bit too much shine for his life's work. Let's just say,
blow up. Yeah.
Yeah, there was rumors about him even when he was working for Dr. King about certain financial issues that he never really shook, and he kind of made worse that time he ran for president.
One of the things about Jesse Jackson, as we talk about Star Trek a little bit, but like side quest for a moment, Jesse Jackson was the dude who's like, he kind of moved from pole to pole to pole among all the significant black leaders. And the thing is, it was like the reason why he was friends with all of them, but not really close with any of them, was because after a little while, they'd like need a little break from Jesse Jackson while they tried to assess him. And in the meantime, they were assassinated. They didn't have time to figure him out or denounce him one way or the other. I think that he remained like an enigma. And people accuse him of overselling what happened when we lost Malcolm X. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, funny thing is that alienation tended to come right when they were checking the books.
What do you mean, as far as he couldn't back up what he said?
No, it's the accounts kind of didn't balance out after he started showing up.
Well, the Reverend, of course, as the Reverend Jesse Jackson, he's got like no tax problems whatsoever. So that was good. America was very good to him. Do you think I could become a Reverend of Star Trek?
Yeah, why
The
not?
Reverend Teague? They said they wanted to have a Reverend on the ship. Maybe it could be me. And I thank you, Radioactive Actual. Thank you very much for the super chat. Let's see. To put it in context, let's look at the data fueling the controversy for a minute. Okay, on Rotten Tomatoes, the series is holding a strong critic score of about 84 to 88%. Comment on that one?
Well, we know where part of the budget went.
45 reviews. That's like just about the minimum. To praise for its soapy, melodramatic, and fresh take on cadet life. However, the audience score is between 38 and 45%. It peaked at 45. It was down to 37 for a while. 43-ish seemed to be where it wanted to be as far as that matrix, which seems high. I didn't think this was a 43% good show. Did you?
Not even close. But
Like
Rotten
we're talking
Tomatoes
like
doesn't.
13, 15% good
Yeah,
at
Rotten
best.
Tomatoes doesn't really have a way to check if you actually watched the show or not. So I'm thinking there's a little bit of number manipulation going on.
So Collider says it's review bombing. And by the way, right wing backlash. So that's it, guys. Germ, would you like to welcome me to the right wing?
It's about time you got here.
You know, it's an honor, I guess, sort of, right?
Wait until you get to the real right wing.
I don't know. Is it okay if I'm here, sir?
We have to send for Albert Einstein. Sir, he's very busy. Sir. Sir, that was so controversial. Sir.
Oh, sir. Okay, so that's the Matrix view brewing this toxic stuff is that there's 2,500 user ratings giving it to 37 to 45%. And it will fall to right in the middle there at about 40 is my opinion. It dipped to 35% early on, rebounding slightly. Here's the thing. The review bombing, I believe that there was review boosting. What do you believe?
Definitely boosting.
But probably not by Paramount, probably by Bad Reboot, which is why they, or Secret Hideout, which is why they weren't really able. I like what Mr. H said. Mr. H said, was it Mr. H who said this one? The company's called Secret Hideout. You're going to need a secret hideout after what you've done to Star Trek.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment.
Oh, so Nielsen said that they failed, that Starfleet Academy failed to crack the top 10 streaming originals for its debut week, January 12th to 18th. By the way, H explained this. H was saying that like they have to have a special chart that just shows stuff that's fairly recent, so that things like every December when people just start watching Home Alone, you know what I mean? It doesn't like overwhelm the statistic and get like make it unreadable. So this concentrates on like newer releases. So like think about it, like things that were uncountable is like how many people watched It's a Wonderful Life because it was Christmas time when some of this shit started. But or January 12th to 18th, whatever seasonal to that. So despite an 2-episode premiere and heavy promotion, pretty heavy promotion, it reportedly debuted at number three on Paramount Plus's internal charts, and it slid off quickly with estimates from Luminate putting early viewership at about 2.1 million over 8 days. Better than some Star Trek, which is crazy seasons, but underwhelming for a tentpole launch. I just want to say 2.1 million over days. That means that, what do you think? Like 85 to 150,000 night one?
Yeah, something like that.
That's insane, Gerb.
I'm thinking at least 1.2 was probably around 3 days in, and someone wanted to get the numbers up.
Nerdrotic embarrassed them. What was his number? 13,000 viewers versus what they were doing. So 13,000 was enough to leave them basically in the dust. Or is it he had 14,000, they had 13,000, right? He trumped them by 1,000.
I forget what the exact numbers is, but he did trump them by well over 1,000.
Right. And he just had Spock sitting on a chair. Okay, so for comparison, the number 110 spot on Nielsen with around 343 million minutes viewed with Academy's 2 episodes totaled about 135 minutes of runtime, suggesting it didn't generate the sustained engagement expected. Soft performance complicates the review bombing narrative. So they're having trouble making the review bombing stick. And again, whatever review bombing we had, there was review boosting as well, attacking the show.
Yes, definitely. I mean, you got to take into account that most people can't sit through an episode in one sitting. So it can't generate a double view count.
Also, they have no idea what their genre is, and Alex Kurtzman can't control the direction of a story or the idea of where a story goes. We have a young adult show that's about same-sex relationships as a norm. The heterosexual relationships are outliers.
This is a freeform channel show.
We had a school show where we ran up to midterms and we were talking about academic stress, and the next episode was called Spring Semester. So nobody failed out. Wouldn't you, if you did a school show, create a character to fail out to show that the school was pretty good?
You would think so, but I'm thinking all the people involved with this show weren't exactly at merit schools, and as long as Mommy and Daddy's checks kept clearing, you weren't getting kicked out.
I would just, I guess. They were not at merit schools, and they were getting Mommy and Daddy's money and not getting kicked out. Was that what you're saying? They only saw people thrown out of school when their parents went broke?
Yeah.
We fix this, sir. I guess you're right. So they know nothing about school because they went to the Aunt Becky University of Privilege, and they have Lori Loughlin's letter of recommendation.
Precisely.
All right. So here's the deal. It's underperforming, according to this article, as best as I can figure, because of a tonal mismatch rather than malice. Well, it's malice stuff, with fans blaming rightly the show for being terrible. Historical Trek revivals after hiatuses like post-original series show that pauses can rebuild hype. But with Paramount Plus's streaming pressure, low engagement could indeed stall projects like Legacy. Good! And the divide seems less about bombing and about whether Kurtzman's vision aligns with what's sustained for the franchise. Bold ideas over obligation. I don't know if I'd call the progressivism bold ideas. And if the viewership doesn't rebound, recalibration might be inevitable, politically charged or not. Let's hope that the next political statement they make is that we're not all that political.
Yeah. Whoever's in charge of the franchise next, let's hope that his primary motivation is money. Because we've seen with the crap lately that when you care more about the message and more about being liked by the right people, you tank.
Before this channel could grow, I had to sink money into editing software and time, which is money, into learning how to use it and make some kind of edited uploads, which brought a lot of you here, and I thank you for being here. They might need to invest money to make money in a whole new way. Buying out Kurtzman, I've come to see that they're not going to do it. To them, it's just 30 weeks of life where they'll play golf and forget about it, and then they'll try to put it back together again. I think a 3-year hiatus would be more than enough. I think if in year 3 your project comes out, first of all, never stop working on it. Test those scripts. I also think as far as to lose money to make money, I think that before you make money or have a blockbuster movie, don't you think we need a TMP sort of new life? Like forget about the fact that there's some questions about how TMP ends. A Star Trek the motion picture type relaunch of another crew on another mission where part of it involves a very Star Trek like new life thing. Win back the original fans first. Take care of them. They're not the baby boomer generation size, but the people who like New Trek are of a very sizable generation that still has money, correct?
Yeah, I'd say so.
If you start building out from them and then try to appeal to their families, you will have people wanting to have that shared experience. Because as much as electronic music has taken over, there's a few like good old fashioned honest rock and roll bands, and they're not even that great, but they play live and they put out some music. Like Kid Rock being an example, he at least goes out there with his guitar, plays live, and like has some impactfulness to his music. And Green Day would be on the other side of the political coin to keep the analogy accurate. Although having seen both, Green Day's better. I don't know.
Green Day is not better than. There is no musical act that isn't better than Green Day, except for maybe U2.
Infant Rock is pretty bad. I've seen him. JT confirmed this one. Infant Rock is just that bad. He can't. He really can't deliver live. And when's his last song? Like 19 years ago. Just because. Well, I would like to just ask you again after I go over his baseball card quickly. Let me just flip over the back of the Kid Rock baseball card. Okay, so let's just get this straight. Since he became famous in the late 90s, he was pro-Clinton. Then he endorsed Al Gore. After the election, he reversed himself and said that he should have gone with George W. Bush, but he was for John Kerry, was it, in the next election, whoever it was, against George Bush, saying that George Bush had done a bad job, at which point after the election he bought back his endorsement of John Kerry, saying he was wrong, and endorsed George W. Bush to be president, and halfway through that term became disenchanted and said that he was wrong to have endorsed George W. Bush and endorsed Barack Obama before unendorsing Barack Obama, and saying that he was wrong to have endorsed and unendorsed Romney first over something to do with Detroit Tiger fandom. And let's not forget, most recently endorsed and unendorsed Hillary and has been consistently Trump because they are personal friends who play golf together. So would you like to tell me again about the political reliability of Mr. Rock?
Well, he wasn't very political until about 2018, 2019.
No, he was always out there mouthing off on, but yeah, the world wasn't as political.
He was mouthing off a lot, but as far as
he was great,
politics.
Yeah. No, he was fairly political in the sense that, remember, he played fundraisers for all the people I talked about who were running when he was endorsing them, and then like went on talk shows and talked about how he was wrong to endorse them beforehand. So afterwards, when it became, he was politically expedient for 20 years, and he had a track record. He went on, I don't know if he went on Bill Maher, but he went on enough shows and talked about how he wanted to buy it back, most notably a lot on Howard Stern when Howard Stern was still on terrestrial radio, which is the point where I became, disconnected from Child Rock. But the last time I saw Child Rock, he opened up for Aerosmith, and it was like a push. Aerosmith plays the tracks. There's no pretense about it. Kid Rock also played the tracks less. It was a little more live. He wasn't as good as Green Day, though. I wasn't thrilled about Green Day. I just liked Green Day when I saw them, and they were so much better than Blink-182 live that I was shocked. And
they never had any talent.
I would say this: I haven't seen them play live in 25 years. They were coming off they had two charted albums at the same time. American Idiot and International Super Hits were dominating the charts for that 1 year. Remember, they had a huge year, and that's when all their music sort of hits you at once, curated for the songs that didn't make it. So you're getting like 7 albums compressed down into 1 album worth of Green Day songs with just the ones that worked, 3 or 4 new songs from a Green Day that had been together long enough to have learned how to write a few catchy songs. And their song about how some chick is a crazy bitch is relatable. even as ridiculous as they looked before the Super Bowl, they were impactful and decent enough. I did not watch Turning Points USA, so I can't comment on that.
I did.
I
It
don't
was
know.
far better than that one they had at the Super Bowl.
Well, Kid Rock is much more live and impactful as compared to Rabid Rabbit or Bad Bunny or whatever he is, like Crazy Coney. But like he is just, Bad Bunny, his music isn't live enough or impactful enough. And also it was like low effort enough with a Latino slant to his music. Sorry, apologies, Paulie. With a Latino bent to his music, like it was more like Latinos bent over. It was like sort of emasculated. It did not have a hard hitting impact. It did not come across as live and impactful the way the music of Green Day had earlier the same day at the same venue, where they at least played live. They had a lot of help and a lot of extra instruments, a lot of extra musicians on stage, but they played live and they were around long enough to nail it, much the way, say, equally pretentious Smashing Pumpkins is. But I don't think Pumpkins have ever been political, right? So maybe that's the baseline, because live didn't make it enough.
Not as much as Green Day has been, but the guys in Green Day are all but open on their support for guys like Mandami.
I think I don't know if they're open about Mondami. I hadn't heard that one. I just know this. They have been consistently against whoever was in office since they showed up while George H. Bush was president. We could pretty much say that. So, like, even though we listen, you don't have to agree with them, and I'm not endorsing them. All I'm saying is, compared to Bad Bunny, these guys were anti-authoritarian for like 25 years. And also they never like tried to burn down a venue. They never tried to incite a riot. They never didn't show up for a show. They never didn't make on their obligations. Nobody has a lengthy arrest record. No one's a poorly behaved person. And all we have is rhetoric. Okay. So they have big mouths. They do know how to act, show up, and behave. And they also know how to deliver for their audience. There's no complaints there, as far as we know, right? So professional enough and a known quantity in Super Bowl acts, which is something that's been sorely lacking, but that was sorely lacking when they were trying any crazy thing before the wardrobe malfunction, when they became overly cautious. Remember, Green Day was only there because they're out there 30 years, right? What's the first Green Day song? Longview in 1993. That's 33 years ago.
Yeah, that's about the right time.
They're around longer now than the Who had been around when they were around. By a lot. By like 1/3 longer. All right, so whatever. They better be good by now. With Bad Bunny, what happened was a lot of the music was pre-recorded. He didn't take advantage of the acoustic guitar angles of Spanish music and have some of the great flamenco music that would get even you going. Am I right? If it's good?
If it's good.
How about some of that intensely finger-picked acoustic guitar stuff? I'm not saying you want to sit home and listen to it all day, but like when you hear it, can't it like I'm not saying it's even haunting, but it's like a bit compelling. Like, wow, those people have talent. That's interesting. You know what I mean? Like, at least it has that much, wow factor to it. It's that much of an event. Like, oh, that's not. There's some talent you don't hear every day. You know what I mean? Intricate finger picking, fretting of the chords. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You've listened to enough Pantera.
Yeah, Bad Bunny unfortunately doesn't do anything like that.
No, he doesn't. It's something that I could play.
Even his albums, they might as well be spoken word.
Well, Bad Bunny's
monotone the entire time.
This was my theory. Okay, so Bad Bunny is a guy who outlived his genre because he was bigger than that genre, because maybe he was a little bit entertaining within that genre. The genre's gone. Is trap reggaeton even a thing anymore?
I don't think so.
And the only example we have of it that endured is him. So whatever it is he is that, right? So trap reggaeton is gone. He speaks Spanish, although he is an American. I pose this to you. How likely do you think it is? What would you bet me even money, Germ? Let's see if Kalshi has this one. That in some place like Brazil, or where he could sell his records because he speaks Spanish, he's just another fucking American and they don't care. And this is a bid for relevance. This is his version of biting the head off a bat. Thoughts?
Yeah, that's pretty close.
Does he give a fuck about the people affected by ICE at all as an American who can't be deported?
All he cares about is staying relevant and getting that next check. The height of his career
Staying-
was 10 years ago, and now he's
Honestly,
just hanging on.
we're talking about reattaining relevance for him. His relevance is ethereal right now. He's only relevant because he is in a Wile E. Coyote position of fame right now. If Bad Bunny looks down, he'll fall. He has to keep the momentum going to get to the other side of that ravine because his music is gone. He has to reinvent his music. And as we saw at the Super Bowl, I guess this would be the fairest assessment of it. Bad Bunny is not a very musical person at all, which says it all about the 21st century. Oh, how I loathe the music of the 21st century. Germ, am I being too picky?
No, because what I've listened to Bad Bunny is William Shatner has better range on his recordings than Bad Bunny does.
The William Shatner record sounds exciting with Zakk Wylde and Richie Blackmore. Did you hear about this? Which William Shatner is releasing a heavy metal album. I'm assuming he'll speak in his traditional style, which is better than Bad Bunny just talking. And William Shatner, Radioactive, Richie Blackmore, and fucking and William Shatner. Did anyone ever think we'd live to see the day? Sir. Bad Bunny's still intent in the halftime show is to shock and mock the U.S. white Americans, especially Trump. Yeah, Sid Volderson, I think that's definitely true. Also, he got away with stuff through the censors that I guess they didn't pay attention. Shame on them. But having read Bad Bunny's lyrics, I don't know. I didn't read them deeply, but having skimmed them, this was my impression. Tell me if I'm right. This was about on par with the more racy and objectionable Motley Crue songs where drugs don't come in, like as far as sex and crazy shit.
These were a little bit worse than Motley Crue ever did.
What's that?
This Motley Crue was talking about strippers.
Yeah, I don't know where the hell he was going with these illusions and stuff like that. Yeah, but Motley Crue was talking about living a fast, hard, gross life. But like Bad Bunny, not that different in the tone. Very sexual, very overt. Nothing about like
about girls on their quinceañera.
All right, we don't let's be careful on this one, but okay. I didn't know about that one. All right, you're fucked up, Bad Bunny, and you're culturally perplexing for Americans, quinceañera. I'm gonna say for my fellow, listen, I can only speak as a Hispanic, so to Latinx people, you're already lost. I can't get through to you. But the Latino people, I'm going to make a suggestion. If you live in the United States of America, have both. Have both. Or do it at 15 and a half. Call it like the sweet Quinceantine, right? There's got to be some way to have fun with this. Make everybody happy and you know, like make it a little less weird. But like, I don't know, like have your quinceañera and if you want, but I'm just saying like, it's so close to being the same thing as in America. Just like, you know, why wouldn't you want to like, I don't know, you know, preserve your culture. But my split the baby on that one is do both and do it like the way Jewish people do Christmas. Instead of one awesome gift on one day, you get 8 decent gifts for 8 days. What do you think, Charm?
Yeah.
And Bad Bunny shouldn't be singing sexual stuff about people of that era. We'll put it to you that way. So as I was saying, this was smutty, like the smuttiest of Motley Crue. It had a real bad power to it. And I guess that's all we really have to say about him. It's sort of like we go to the moon to get the Mars, and that is what we're doing with the moon. But the other thing we talked about would be Landman is starting to trend. And it's like 1, 2, and 3 on the streaming charts, not internal for Paramount, but in general. What do we do? Wait 4 weeks? Do we do episode 1 and then come back 4 weeks later? Like, how is it that we whiffed? Like, have you seen the numbers for episode 1 of Landman? They're now insane. They're officially batshit.
No, I haven't looked at the numbers in quite a while, but I guess people are catching up now that football season is done.
Remember 2 days ago when I told you how crazy high it was?
Yeah.
It's put on 2,000 since then.
Holy crap.
Yeah. People enjoy our discussions of Landman. It's very successful. It's very clearly labeled Landman Live. I think we're going to change the name even a little more to make it clear. I think the view from what do you think of the view from Midland for next year?
I think that's pretty good.
And we can co-opt the View logo, and we could like put like a Whoopi Goldberg avatar over Kremlin. I
I'm
found
sure he'll
we have
appreciate that.
we probably have scared off a few normal people with this one, and people who would have enjoyed it because they don't know what to make of it. But is this not the only YouTube channel where use of the pride flag and the intersectional symbol is like commonplace but ironic every time? Hello, Tim. Hello to Tim. Yeah, that's true. Germ could also have sung better than Bad Bunny. I believe that even Germ tanking out singing a patriotic, good old American song would have been better than Bad Bunny singing about weird stuff on the quinceanera. I didn't know that. I didn't read it deeply enough. Most of what I read like a racy, fucked up Motley Crue song. Would that tone be right, despite what you said about the quinceanera stuff? Right, that's about where he's at with the tone.
That is probably his general
tone.
General tone for most of his songs. But the ones I looked up, they were kind of shooting under the bar of where you wanted to be talking about.
So he also has things in the not so distant past, but far enough back where it was still edgy, funny, like 10, 12 years ago when he had his moment where he went there a little too much. All right. I just want to give context on this one. By this point in his career, Ozzy Osbourne was 2 years past biting the head off the bat, had the new guitar player, Jakey Lee, and was rising back to credibility and establishing that he himself was a solid act that you could spend money on and enjoy with just about zero social activism and except don't do drugs like me, which is more constructive than anything we got from Bad Bunny. And I'd point out that Ozzy Osbourne, now an American citizen, always came here legally, or he was an American citizen when we lost him. And what do you think? Is that a good like measuring stick? Like Ozzy Osbourne is the success by which all others are measured, right? No one's really Ozzy, and then you've got the Stones who are up like in this rarefied air.
Yeah, Ozzy's a good measuring stick.
Well, I know that the Stones aren't quite your thing, but you understand, like with the amount of money they command, the amount of enduring fame, and the fact that their music is still listenable and can be considered to have an aggressive edge. And while by no means Pantera is a direct feeder into that kind of music, so whatever. Great Grandpa's still around, and he can still rock out the way he used to. What do you think? Is that a fair enough assessment?
Yeah, pretty fair. At least they're not the Beatles.
The Beatles, a lot of people love them too. I love the Beatles, but yeah, different tone. The Stones, darker, more irreverent. So, like, Bad Bunny is like using Ozzy as the measuring stick, a little more fair. Still stratospheric success, but Ozzy would never have been allowed to do a Super Bowl halftime, right?
I think we're giving every parents group in the country a heart attack if they put Ozzy up there.
Meanwhile, what would he have done? Sung about like how we shouldn't have evil leaders without naming names, talking about the men with the power. Remember, that's how Ozzy would say it, in the corridors of power where they don't care about you, the nameless, faceless politicians and generals. That's all he ever said. And he might have been right, but the thing is, he didn't call anybody out like, hey, you people voting this or you people vote. Never happened with Ozzy, did he?
No.
Now, if they did give Ozzy a Super Bowl halftime show, this is fictional because the Super Bowl halftime show in 1982 might have been up with people. It was still bullshit then. It was like maybe the Ohio State marching band. I'm being honest. If Ozzy had done a Super Bowl halftime show in 1982, he would have been on the tour for Ultimate Sin. He would have had a bunch of hits from Sabbath and from that. If Ozzy Osbourne at that moment had wanted to make the cause celeb of that moment would be no censorship, First Amendment, trumps most other rights and has to be deeply respected. Had Ozzy Osbourne put on a set And then somewhere in there had been like, and I want to say, let's keep freedom of speech in rock and roll music down with the PMRC. No one would have booed. It would have just been like one of those things. It would have been actually expected, maybe like mixed applause, but low level of applause. And I think then when the pyrotechnics went off, people would have been like, wow, Ozzy. And like no one would have talked about it the next day. But he would have come there with a track record of social activism. Whereas Bad Bunny, what is it? He's a guy in a sparkly suit yelling, dance, 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 right?
At the best of times.
So what do you think of that analogy as far as Ozzy Osbourne, had he done that, said, hey, freedom of speech, very, very important, compared to Bad Bunny, American, taking up a cause that, as an American citizen, questionable. I understand as a Latino American citizen that he feels a certain way. Speaking as a Hispanic, I feel that you should come here legally. I don't know how the Latinos feel. I can't speak for the Latinos, only the Hispanics.
Now I can picture Ozzy singing War Pigs at the halftime of 1988 Super Bowl.
Yeah, but this would have been the 1982 or 3 Super Bowl. He would
that would have gone over even worse.
He was 2 years past the biting the head off the bat. He was at least known as a guy who mostly reliably showed up at that point, at least. I realized that got like worse before it got better, but like he was seen as someone whose management got him there. Sharon! But you know what? That's enough with that for now. We're talking about Landman roaring back. As I look in on the Landman stuff, there's a lot of Landman content that's been taken down. A lot of underwatched Landman. Season 1's best moments on the Paramount Plus channel has 1.6 million views. Maybe a best moments conversation with some video aids would be the way to go. One thing that I think we might need to do is revisit Landman this many weeks afterwards, because it's starting to peak again. A lot of people have finished their binge. Is Landman comprehensive panel reunion? Like, should that happen before Marshall's? Get us back up to speed? Because Marshall's 2 weeks away. A week away, March 1st.
Yeah, we could do a catch up on the last season of Yellowstone, just so people have the show in context.
How many episodes were there? Just 5, right? Or it was 2. It was a double season. It was a split season.
Yeah, it was a split season, but I'm not sure exactly how many episodes it was total.
If I watch 5 and wiki like crazy, will I know what's going on?
Yeah. I'd say just binge the last 5 episodes and you should be able to catch up pretty well.
Do they reset the stakes and everything? Go ahead.
Just pick up where John Dutton gets shot and then go from there.
I remember him like recovering from getting shot in like some kind of mountain spring and be like, and Kevin Costner he performed well in that. It's too bad he couldn't get along with the people. It really is a shame he couldn't get along with the people.
Yeah, he has trouble with that sometimes.
He really messed up a good thing, because I enjoyed his work with Taylor Sheridan. He was great. It was great drama. So Radioactive, if you want, come on back on Sunday. We could have a comprehensive, what, it might be good too, a comprehensive Taylor Sheridan discussion. Like our Taylor Sheridan journey. I've seen him trend up with every series. If he had gone 2 seasons in 1883, that would not have gone as well as season 2 of 1923. What do you think?
Probably.
Or would have been about as bad, right? Because it's the first time he tries to go 2.
Yeah. Well, besides for Yellowstone.
He has a lot of other co-creators in Yellowstone, though. He could back off and only push his characters and his storylines, right? He's showrunner, but he has co-creators and co-writers on that one more than any other show. That's why it got split up into 3 different shows. Yellowstone Marshals, as far as I can tell. Right. The Madison hasn't started. Yellowstone Marshals, 66, 66. What's the 4th one?
Dutton Ranch.
Okay. So the last 5 episodes of Yellowstone tank out because they're resetting the stakes and restating a lot of things, is what I'm gathering, and that they're getting people set up for this new season of 4 different shows where they're going to diffuse the product 400%. So everyone needs to be reorigined, everyone needs to be revisited, and we have to kill John Dutton stone dead because he's kind of a dick who messes up the ability to separate these factions into different shows. And maybe they play nice and start crossing them over with each other.
Well, a couple of them have good crossover potential, but Madison is in no way related to the other shows except for geography.
Is the Madison's relation that Michelle Pfeiffer is the descendant of Liz Strafford?
Yeah. From everything I can been able to read up on it, they have absolutely no relation to the Duttons. The only relation they have to any of the Yellowstone is Montana.
So somebody just is Taylor Sheridan adjacent, and the Madison is not Taylor Sheridan's show at all. It's just like licensed off his world. Apparently,
it might be. Yeah,
I wonder how Sheridan.
Everything I've read, there is no story connection whatsoever.
The shows we try to do, there's a lot of Taylor Sheridan out there. A lot of it's good, Tulsa King, etc. The thing we try to do is we try to go with the ones that it looks like he's going to write every single episode. And that's where we've been so far. We have watched every single show where he's written every episode. There are, I don't think, any episodes where he isn't at least co-writer on them for any of the shows we did. 1883 shows his pacing problem. He has a pacing problem for sure. What do you think?
Yeah, he tends to have a pacing problem because he takes on a lot of work.
Yeah, he does.
He doesn't break himself up. Because with 1883, he was on Tulsa King that entire time, and he is already
and mayor of Kingston, right? Is Mayor Kingston him as well?
That I'm not sure of.
Okay. Similar vein to the show. Yeah, so he's working on several projects at once. He's also back at Paramount. He's at Paramount doing those, and he's back over at NBC with Peacock making the Yellowstone show. So he is stretched pretty thin. And I think his dream is to be more of a theatrical movie maker, cinematic movies. And so that's where Universal manages to get him to stay with the mothership where he came from. Paramount, at this point, we have to view them as lucky to have ever gotten any piece of them at all, considering what a shambolic mess that company is. Just a shambolic mess.
Yeah, it's going to take a good 5 to 10 years for them to right the ship over there.
For all of it. It's a good thing the Ellisons have the money. It's a good thing the Ellisons have the money. I think it's going to be a tough build back. However, the 10 to 15 year time frame on New Trek is definitely in my opinion exaggerated. I can't see that happening. It's too far into the future. But the thing is, Paramount's Landman machine, either we're seeing the beginning of throttling of new creators, right? Because remember, no one else was really doing Landman, and we prospered a lot. And we may be product dependent. Do you think what happened was the controversy? That nice paraphrase, Teague. Do you think the controversy with the episode 2 and 3 of season 2 of Landman just caused too much confusion, and then the attempt to right the ship and fix the plot took up the rest of the middle of season 2? When they get renewed, also they start to do pacing. Too much gets thrown at them at once for the story they already had filmed, and plus Rebecca is pregnant, so they're just like, we'll pick it up with Rebecca later and we'll just do pickups then. And for a moment it works, and it's just like, it's only graceful like a man slipping on ice, but somehow they got out of there without getting hurt. Seems to be season 2. What do you think?
There's definitely a downturn for season 2, but I think they did pretty well.
The last 2 episodes climbed back from the abyss.
Yeah. I think they may have changed stuff around when they confirmed they are able to get a season 3, but Didn't do too bad.
They actually, I think Taylor Sheridan. So in 1883, if there had been a season 2, it would have crashed and burned. So what happens is the pacing problem shows up in 2 questionable episodes, but he puts some action scenes in there. And then the last one's just kind of like leans hard into the unexpectedly good acting of Tim McGraw and Faith Hill. And we get the Duttons to where they're supposed to be. And they see the Guardians and all that other stuff like that. And what Radioactive's perspective is when we did the crunch of the numbers, it would have cost less to go there and buy all new stuff by train than to have a wagon train feed the horses, buy the horses, and then you have a wagon train no one needs. No one's migrating back.
Yeah, but I think for Landman, their timing is the worst thing for them. They are premiering in the back half of the NFL season, and that's never a good time for basically anything else on television.
A Sunday night show. Just do
That
it on
makes it doubly
Thursday.
worse.
Just do it on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. Thursday, you got one NFL game. The thing is, you're dropping late. So drop it Thursday morning. People got it to watch Friday. Saturday, I realize there's college football and it's huge, but people will find some Landman time in there. And then like Sunday, NFL day, it's a wash. It's just a wash. It was not a good drop time Saturday early morning. That's a good drop time for science fiction, not a show that's a drama that appeals to gritty people, roughnecks, and people who have like sort of, I guess, would we call them homespun beliefs, or we just say that they were based?
Based is better. Homespun, that, especially around here, that tends to be a nice way to insult people who aren't city dwellers.
I like the homespun spin you put on that, Jim. Very folksy. Is folksy also passive aggressive? Is that a microaggression, Jim? I'm sorry, buddy. You get to have the Super Bowl winning team. You can take some ball breaking. And what do you think about this UFO announcement? Is it because everyone's talking about people going to Steinep's Pleasure Planet? That's our next story. UFO files to drop, ladies and gentlemen, sirs and madams. We're going to find out about a lot of stuff about UFOs. I predict hours and hours and hours of grainy gun cam and nothing else. What do you think?
I think we're going to get not as much as people want, but we're going to get some pretty significant stuff.
I know some people are
pressing for this for well over 2 decades. So there's plenty of people who will be happy with this.
Will we get all but confirmation?
I think we're going to get everything except for an alien ship landing on the White House lawn and giving a press conference.
That happened during the Clinton administration.
Yeah, but that was a paternity suit against Bill.
It also happened when Whitmer was president. President Whitmer stayed at the White House till the last minute. And I know that in the next election, even though he had released nuclear weapons on American soil, I voted for Whitmer. How about you?
I would have voted for Whitmer had I been old enough.
Where were you when the Harvester aliens attacked? I was on the edge of the city watching from Long Island. When they turned on the primary weapon and took out Midtown, that was something.
Oh, yeah, we were cheering all over the West Coast.
Fuck you. Yeah, I think on LA too. It was a good day for you. I remember, in the shelter the next day, crackling over the transistor radio, the voice of President Whitmore saying that, we wouldn't go quietly into the night. And that's when I was reinvigorated with hope. I don't know about you.
The aliens never really make it to Seattle. There's too much of a green haze over the city in the 90s.
Why would they want to go somewhere that they've kind of, what don't they already know about Seattle?
Well, yeah, they'd have to go through Portland, and there's already enough aliens in Portland, even back then.
We'll circle back to Landman again. I like to do the weave where we weave things together. Germ, look at this. This was the end of my video essay the other night. It is all the different governmental organizations that fed into making New Trek. After the 23 producers, that is all the governmental organizations. We have Ontario Creates, funded by the government of Canada, Ontario, some other Canada logo, New Zealand Film Commission, CGI Copenhagen, Copenhagen Growth Incentive, Norwegian Film Institute. And the most insulting part, we, the filmmakers, would like to acknowledge the support of Norwegian government for production incentives. Why is the Norwegian government giving production incentives for Canada, which gave them the biggest one with the Vancouver filming? And that's just to create jobs on a local level.
Yeah, this reminds me a lot of the USAID stuff. So we're not the only ones giving away free money to jackasses.
How do we know this wasn't USAID money in the first place, and then we didn't give them the money that they then retest to this?
Very well possible.
Tachyon Pulse said to me, they're doing the CGI in Copenhagen. And I was like, then why is it called the Copenhagen Growth Incentive? I think it's global.
I think it's money laundering.
I think it's money laundering too, let's be honest. And don't make me crush your avatar, Jerm. That's better. Oh, that's worse. That's worse. That's better. All right. So as you can see, like a multinational, is it fair to call it state TV?
At that point, yeah, because with that many organizations, that had to be close to 40-50% of the budget for the episode.
How much of that money was earmarked for like outreach to like reduce tensions between the straight and gay community and stuff like that then went to this antagonistic bullshit?
Probably
just didn't bring anyone close. None of this brought anyone closer together. I'm assuming the Canadian film incentives allowed them to like beat payroll tax, and those probably had some value. So those might, like, we could take the wokeism out of that. Everything else, like most of these things seem to be normal film incentives. But what did they do in New Zealand? You telling me that piece of shit? What did they buy? Drone footage from one guy, give him $100 and get like a $17 million tax like kickback?
Something like that. They definitely came up on the better end of that. They spent almost no money in New Zealand.
There was nothing that I could identify as having been used from New Zealand. Maybe an exterior shot of a drone, or from a drone. Ridiculous. The New Zealand government's screen production rebate. So they were just like straight up handed money. It's crazy. No lose, no consequence Star Trek. You have to make it really bad. You just have to make it really bad. And this was definitely up there among the worst Star Trek I saw. Fallout, people divided on that one. Did you watch?
Yes, I did. I'm not really much for the Fallout games, but the series has been pretty well.
You found it watchable?
Oh, yeah. It's, well, definitely more enjoyable than Academy, but
right.
I'd put it just a little bit behind Landman.
Really? Are you a big fan of her? Is her name Lucy Purnell?
I believe the main character is named Lucy.
Is the actress's name is like something like Christina Purnell or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. The Ghoul is probably the most interesting character. Yeah, Walton. Most people would probably know him from Justified.
Right. He manages to maintain the position as most interesting person in the show. I guess like you're coming from a place where you have to accept it anyway. So what the hell? I just asked you this question: how do they manage to stick the landing on a show that's about blowing up the entire world so that you can enjoy the riches of the entire world? That would seem to be putting the cart before the horse a little bit.
It does seem a little oxymoronic, but the games themselves prove that it's a hit.
So no one really cares. Basically, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. The story is rich enough and everything's well developed enough. It makes sense. And the whole nuking the world for market research pretty much doesn't come into it. Then again, I never really was a fan of the games, so I'm not.
Please don't think too hard on or
or
push. Please don't push. Think too hard or push too hard on that plot thread. Show writers, just like move on from that. Would be my advice. But it sounds like they managed to pull off season 2 being all right. All right, here's the next one. Germ, I'm going to say one word. You tell me what you think. Aliens.
versus Predators.
That's the good answer.
Underrated second movie, and for the first movie was okay. The second one not as bad as people say.
Hoping for a little more there, but okay. Let's think about this one. Aliens versus Predators. Probably a valid first thought, but no. Aliens. What if I strung together for you a series of movies, and you told me if you think that they are, aside from the thematic relations, if they're part of a larger plan? Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Contact with Jodie Foster, and this coming film Disclosure Day with Steven Spielberg at the helm.
I would definitely not think those are in any way related.
They're all about contact with alien intelligence.
Yeah, and well, they have the same director, I believe.
I don't know if Spielberg did Contact, did he?
I thought he was involved. May not have been the director, might have been a producer.
Yeah, I think he might have been involved, though. You're right. That one was the Carl Sagan book with like a tangible method of how contact could be achieved, where they send us the tech and we can just turn it on and talk to them. Is basically, we have to build some stuff, but it's pretty good. Hello, Daniel T USA 1095. Welcome to the show. It's good to see you here. Welcome to our discussion of pop culture. We're talking about how some people are intimating that the new Steven Spielberg Disclosure Day movie is part of a longer range product to finally make the American public ready for disclosure that there is alien intelligence and that we're in contact. I say bullshit. There is no such thing. There are aliens. We're not in contact.
I think it's all just a scam to promote the movie.
With the UFO revelations dropping at the same time the movie comes out, it does look a bit strange, but I don't know if it's really more than a coincidence. Although I would say this, every time the government wants us to look away, this alien stuff comes up. Is it related to the activities and the shuttle logs for Steinep's Pleasure Planet?
No, I think they know that's not going away. And dropping UFO information has never really worked to make people forget before. So
it buys you some time.
They learned their lesson after 5 or 10 times doing it.
It doesn't change the narrative. It buys you about 3 weeks. It'll buy you like 1 to 3 weeks. Sometimes you solely need to come up with another game plan, and sometimes you just can re-kick the can harder. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know. Um, I know that there is life on other planets. I am sure of it mathematically. It would be a fluke if there wasn't. My mind's open to the possibility there's not. There are no biblical prohibitions in Catholicism specifically saying it. And in fact, there are some verses of the Bible that can be interpreted as allowing it. So I'm not committing any kind of crime by thinking that there's probably extraterrestrial intelligence. I would think the most likely way that we would have non-Earth origined creatures on our planet was, I don't know if Mars had enough time, but like survivors from Mars living on like a moon base or under the ocean. Or the other one would be they're headed somewhere else. They had engine problems. They got stuck here. There is no no repair shop and no rescue mission for a multi-generational mission bound by the laws of real science. They can't warp around at warp 9.975 like the Voyager. So stranded here, that would make sense. I don't know.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on the possibility of aliens, sir?
Mathematically, it's guaranteed to be out there. Why they'd want to be here is beyond me. There is nothing really interesting about this planet. Literally, the most interesting thing in this solar system and on this planet is that the moon almost perfectly covers the sun once every year or two. And it's a nice,
depending upon where you are. It covers the sun somewhere specific. I think what's the deal? You'll have a total, and I saw like what was only called like a 30% eclipse, but that was pretty profound in New York. I saw a total eclipse a couple of years back, or whatever, a partial eclipse a couple of years back. That was pretty profound. So I saw the cone of visibility for that. Basically, every 30 to 75 years, an area is going to have something visible to an eclipse.
Yeah.
It might blip around. It might be 30 years, followed by 75, followed by another 30. It might not be. It might be regular, but not the same interval every time. But a visible eclipse will pass by at that point. And remember, it's not a planet-wide event all the time. Not all the time.
But galactically speaking, it is the equivalent of the world's largest ball of yarn that you see on Route 66.
What about this idea that like when Trump became president, they're like, congratulations, sir. And they brought him into the Oval Office. They're like, this is the Oval Office, sir. And he goes, this is where I'll have my office. And they're like, not exactly. And the chair spins around and then there's like an ET smoking a cigarette and like wearing like a suit. He's like, let's tell you how things go on this planet. And then maybe they've been in charge the whole time. There's a lot of overarching alien conspiracies.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird ones out there.
What's your favorite crazy alien cult? Heaven's Gate?
That's the only one that really comes to mind offhand.
You got to respect people who waited till the X-Files was over to do what they did. But yeah, aliens stranded here seems to be the most likely explanation. Let's say there are aliens and we are in contact with them. What do you think? Intergalactic stranded or that high of a tech level that they can just beam around? Open up a mini wormhole?
I would go with stranded because why would they voluntarily want to be here?
I love that. That's a great one. Why, sir? Why? Why, sir? Why would anyone do this to themselves, sir? That probably
I've met humans. It not really the friendliest and most social.
They are a strange lot, those humans. What can I tell you? But guys, we got 15 likes. We have a goal of trying to get 30 likes. All we ask for is likes. You guys are generous in a lot of ways, and I do thank you. But all we ask for is likes. So I do ask you very nicely for likes. This wish was granted, and I thank everyone again. And soon, Germ Teague 3300 in sight. Are you ready for that great day?
Yeah, trucking along quite nicely.
At Teague
5,000 is
30,
a good goal for the end of the year.
what do you think of the? Do we at Teague 3300 celebrate Teague 3000 for real? It's like, okay, at this point, it's probably definitely real.
Yeah,
Because
that's
God
good.
only knows with YouTube, right? It's also a little bit of sly shade. We have lapped some people who started before us. I think a lot of it is because we have stayed true to our mission of being representatives of Star Trek and doing what we can to try to save it. And it took long enough, but it looks like the things might be turning in our favor. And I'm going to say right now, I believe that a Star Trek moratorium for a couple of years would be things turning in our favor. Germ, what do you think?
Yeah, at this point,
What
the franchise needs to rest a while.
what would be the optimal length for a break?
I'd think 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, 3 to 5 sounds right. 10 to 15 sounds insane. All of that overstated. Those first 3 threats were like, don't tempt me with a good time.
Yeah, 15 years. No one lets a property set for 15 years when they think they can even make a tax break on it.
Except George Lucas, 18 years. 18 years, sir.
Well, he had other stuff to do.
He was making a lot of money without a lot of effort with that EU stuff. Let's be honest. He was making a lot of EU money.
Yeah.
And
Apparently,
those
he's not
books
a
were
big
good.
fan of Star Wars.
George would like to make a movie about cars and about people who like cars and just sidestep everything else. If he could do that, he would be very happy.
Yeah, he's
That's
more
my
the
take.
he's more the highbrow sci-fi, and if he could combine THX 1138 with Pixar's Cars, that would be his ultimate movie in his mind.
I think you're probably right. By the way, just for our audience, you guys have been so cool. We have some new video for you. It's not quite totally perfected yet, but I think it's pretty close. Germ saw it last night. This guy's for you. This one is for you guys, especially for Radioactive and Ruby who've been so generous tonight, as well as to all of you who are members of the community. So here we go. This one's for you. A little editing at work. Here we go.
Steam is better.
Sir, honestly, the dogs are better.
Sir, I have the man. Sir, my name is Raisin. $1 billion, sir. $1.1 billion, sir.
Sir, he has a cold. Don't shake his head.
Sir. Sir.
What do you think, Jerem? You like our new Sir video?
Pretty good.
I like it. I think it's fun. Let's check it out one more time. It's addictive. There's something like there's something hypnotic about it.
Sir, steam is better.
Sir, honestly, the dogs are better.
Sir, I have the man. Sir, my name is Raisin. $1 billion, sir. $1.1 billion, sir.
Sir, he has a cold. Don't shake his head.
Sir. Sir.
The part where he's rolling off the amount of money is hilarious because we could use that for KurtzmanTrek. Like, how much does it cost? $1 million, sir. Hey, Radioactive Actual. And yes. Okay, I'm up. I'm up to speed on this one. And you know what? Let's have some hot looking cast members. Daniel, hello, Daniel T, USA 1095. I think I said hi already, but hello again. New name to see here. Star Trek Academy. I can't believe it, but it's still got a great deal of virility. We'll see what's going on with that. I don't know how much more there is to be said about Disclosure Day, except that out of all those movies, what movie about the fact that we might already be talking to aliens that's out there do you like the most, Germ?
Contact wasn't too bad.
Carl Sagan did write the book. I did enjoy Contact. I'm going to go with Close Encounters, though. It's a classic. It's really cool. It's got some great moments, and it's a lot of fun. I like Close Encounters.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I never really liked the whole musical note part.
Although that is said by a lot of people who say that they know stuff but can't prove it, that the aliens will communicate through musical tones, and it does make a little bit of sense.
From a certain point of view.
Good ad lib. By the way, our next Enterprise episode has a name that everyone will recognize. Babel 1. Babel 1 coming up next. We will talk about this exciting episode of Enterprise after we get Germ's thoughts on what do you think of the new U2 song about Renee Good? You've been listening to that one all day, haven't you?
I've listened to it, and
You
just
heard
say
it?
my opinion of you two hasn't changed one bit. They're still all jackasses.
Is the song catchy or something? Because sometimes they do catch lightning in a bottle. There's a few good U2 songs. They're determined to make us forget that, but there are.
I am not a fan of anything you two has ever done.
They broke big when I was a kid, so I like them nostalgically. You know what I mean? There was a time when Bono wasn't a total dick.
Yeah, I think South Park got him perfectly right.
By the time he reaches that point in his career, that is Bono. Yeah. Hello. Yeah, he's just exactly. They took the beginning of Even Better Than the Real Thing, and is it Borderline? Is that what the name of the song is? In a place called. What was the name of it? It was like hello. They took those two songs and they mashed them up together, and they just have him yelling. But Bono just walks around it's like yeah. Hello, yeah. They got Bono down perfectly. That is the only way Bono entertains anymore, in my opinion.
Yeah, that and him being a giant piece of shit.
No, that's Mr. Hanky. Oh, you mean your opinion?
No, that's the episode.
Oh, that's right.
The entire gag to the episode is Bono is a giant piece of shit.
Oh, and he wears a flesh suit.
He evolved.
I've only seen the outtakes, and I think that he has made cameos into other episodes where he comes back and just keeps going, yeah. I think he's his way through a few episodes here and there.
He may have.
All right, so just really quick, the next one is Babel 1. It's obviously related to Journey to Babel. It's a fairly interesting episode. If we take these out, there are, including These Are the Voyages, 22 episodes in this season. We are up to episode 12. We're going to go one episode at a time, but episode 19, 18, and 19 don't happen in this season and didn't get shown in this order. And their air date is, oh, wow, no, they've changed. All right, so the gap in the air date that corresponds with when they were supposed to be shown must have been either a sporting event or they just didn't show it. And they do drop it. We saw it in production error, not release error. We did Mirror Darkly at the end of season 2 rather than go forward with Stormfront. And I think that everyone would probably endorse that decision because Stormfront, sure, you want to sum that one up quick?
Stormfront was a mistake.
Patterns of farce.
Yeah.
So
it was almost as big a mistake as the entire Xindi arc.
The Xindi arc had redemptive moments enough for me to forgive it, and I like it in retrospect. The thing is, I wish I hadn't done it the year before the 25th anniversary of the events that inspired it, because now I have to deal with it all over again. But maybe I'm more well prepared for it. We'll find out over the course of this year. We're only 6 weeks in. as we get closer and closer. Can you imagine the 9/11 ceremony with Mayor Mamdani there? I have a funny feeling that if there's one group of people in this country that would boo Mayor Mamdani, it would be the 9/11 survivors.
I hope you have a good supply of eggs and tomatoes ready for his speech.
I doubt he shows up at Ground Zero. I hope he doesn't go to Ground Zero. I would pray that he has the class and dignity not to go to Ground Zero. I would do anything
You really
to convince
think
him
that
not.
man has class?
I would hope that someone with class and dignity pulls him aside and shames him into not going. After someone teaches him shame. See, I anticipated your next comment there. Was I on the money?
Pretty close.
What would you have said?
My version involves a baseball bat to his kneecaps.
All right. So Babel 1 filters into an episode we all know the title of because of its implications in the larger world of Star Trek, United. And then comes the A&R. That's our 3-episode Fix the Klingons While We Mess Around link arc. Am I correct? Or is that only
no,
Federation Alliance arc?
The Klingons are next. This one's the Romulans.
This is the Romulan drone arc. It doesn't touch on the Klingons at all. So wait, there is no Klingon arc. It's just episode 15, Affliction is the whole Klingon thing. Or is Divergence part 2 of that?
I think it's at least a 2-parter.
Well, Bound is a different story because that's when Archer gets the 3 Orion chicks.
It might just be a 1-episode arc.
Then we get the mirror episodes. Then we go back with Demons. A xenomorphic faction of humanity threatens to undermine talks and form a new coalition of planets. Then I guess we get the episode that we all find to be our favorite. I know that this one's closest to your heart and mine, right? We'll probably be cosplaying as Colonel Green for it. What do you think of Terra Prime, correct? Terra Prime?
Yep, Terra Prime forever.
Terra Prime forever. Colonel Green was a good man. He made the shuttlecraft to the moon run on time. He doesn't get enough credit for that, Germ. And then we end with These Are the Voyages, and I don't think it's going to be very satisfying for us because I think we've come to love this show with all its flaws. It doesn't have that many warts. It's been true to itself. They didn't break their own canon. They've bent as far as they could Star Trek canon from Gene, but they didn't piss all over it, except in Transformation. Is that the one with the Borg? Assimilation?
Yeah, Assimilation.
That one comes up short in runtime, and they just have to fix it, and they can't get it right, and it wrecks the Borg for all time. And the only good news is the relaunch of the Borg would not have worked if that episode went off perfectly, would it? No one cared, and we had very limited ways to use them, correct?
The Borg were already scrapped by Voyager, so it didn't really matter.
That's what I keep saying. Although I think they dragged out their better Borg outfits for that one. They were the older, like TNG Borg and movie Borg outfits. They was like, we can't use these Voyager outfits that we used, that we retest for the Herosian. We just can't. So we had some better Borg outfits in that one, but that one sucked, and most of the episode took place with like other cast. Like the discovery of the Borg goes on for way too long. I think that was also maybe filmed later to fill in time. That other director you said, I guess they never used him again for pushing the episode so hard that they lost 6-7 minutes of runtime, one full segment.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And in this loss, you fail to rehabilitate your villains. Okay, we don't think that was ever going to work, but we don't know if it would have, if the episode comes off correctly. But also to at least have a good horror episode and to have like an episode that brings the nostalgia and doesn't member bury you, serves the story, and it just like crashing, rolling, burning wreck. Germ, am I right?
Yeah.
That might be the worst episode, huh?
One of, yeah.
All right. Well, you know what? I think 151 I'm almost ready to call it. What do you think? It seems like there's a lot of other forces out last night, and we were just on for a million hours last night. We may have made our statement tonight. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we're good for the day.
Why don't you tell people what's going on your channel?
Well, we'll be watching Babel 1 tomorrow at 5 p.m. for the pre-show watch party, and then
That's
on
Pacific, right? 5 p.m. Pacific,
yeah
8 p.m. Eastern time.
5 p.m. real time.
Yeah, midnight Europe, midnight in 1 a.m. I guess in England.
Yeah, and then Monday may or may not be able to do Rebirth of Mother 3. That'll also be at 5 p.m. Pacific.
And the highly argumentative political forum on Wednesday.
That I can't do anymore. I have set plans on Wednesday. I barely make it to Dan's show on time.
Will there be a rebirth of the highly contentious political show?
At this point, no. That may change in the future.
I loved the show, and I thought that you got good reactions out of everybody. I thought you're a great host, but I won't miss watching the news without really paying attention so that I can come on the show and try to participate in the conversation. From what I understand, this is what I learned. But Germ's show is tremendously educational. There are no warp drives. There is no warp drive technology. And apparently that no progress at all in the Dyson sphere around Earth. Around Sol.
No, unfortunately, no progress on that.
Absolutely none. Fuck. All right. Also, there is no such thing as EPS conduits or plasma arcs.
Well, not for power.
Okay. And apparently not all wormholes lead to another part of the galaxy.
Especially ones in the hallways of high schools.
Keep your children away from Star Trek. We love you all. And you know what? You know you love her. You're going to see Sydney Sweeney. But first, I just want to say Saving Star Trek is brought to you by, the genius of Gene Roddenberry. And indeed, genius there was there. And lately by the ineptitude and complete idiocy of Alex Kurtzman. Jerm, how strange is it that we're fueled by equal parts genius and equal parts the genius of idiocy? This guy Kurtzman is so dumb that it's like it's almost a force of nature. It's like I formed the Blue Ribbon Committee of really stupid people to get angry and drunk and have their worst ideas. That will then be reviewed by a bunch of people who have impulse control problems as well as Dunning-Kruger. That will then be run through an AI and it will emerge in its final form.
Yeah, we got one more super chat.
Oh my gosh, you guys are the best. You know what? What's wrong with the sensors? When Sean is here, we're gonna have him recalibrate the sensors.
Admiral Teague, incoming super chat.
Oh, I want to thank the real head case for very generous $1.99 super chat. So, did you watch Sydney Sweeney eating snacks? Have you heard of this?
I'm not exactly sure what he's referring to. I've watched Sydney Sweeney do some pretty interesting stuff.
Sometimes it's even the real Sydney Sweeney. I heart your super chat, but thank you so much. I'm going to check into this one, and I think what I need to do is find one of the few Sydney Sweeney movies where she's allowed to look like Sydney Sweeney to see yet another movie. I've seen 3 things with Sydney Sweeney. One was The Handmaid's Tale. She was sexless and depressed in that one, and then we saw a little bit of Madam Web. I turned that off. Anyone But You was good. So that's where we're at. There's not a lot of Sydney Sweeney out there where she looks like Sydney Sweeney. I hear she's a good actress in the boxing movie, but they should have just sacrificed realism, let her look like herself, and had her just be like some kind of female boxer, because she does do martial arts for her own like workout routine. So she would have been fine. But I don't know why. It's Jerm, before we go, is this just a tough time for good-looking actors and actresses in Hollywood? Is that what's going on?
Oh, it must be. But her new movie, Something Made,
Right. She's going to be naked and she's going to do some guy and we're going to get to see some stuff, but we don't know how revealing
It is
the nakedness
Spencer.
is. It's
a
Brandon
good view
Sklenner.
that- Yes, it is.
That's
He's
going to
the
be
co-star
fucking
of that
great.
movie.
First of all, they're both hot, but I mean, not that I dig Spencer, but I do like my prawn to be high quality. Like, it was fun watching Ron Jeremy do hot chicks because he was so out of shape, but you get what I mean.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when we say, agree or disagree. Wouldn't it have been great if Tommy Lee also owned a video camera when he was married to Heather Locklear too?
Yeah, that would have been great for 90s, Germ.
Well, I mean, he did light up the end of the 90s with the Pamela Anderson thing, but it's Saving Star Trek is brought to you by the genius of Gene Roddenberry, the idiocy of Alex Kurtzman, and the generosity of viewers like Ruby Hoove, Radioactive, and the Real Head Case. I really got to thank you, and it's very generous of all of you. Radioactive, you know our plan for Sunday. I'll get in touch with you on email. I emailed you about that weird swarming situation we saw on another channel. We had a chance to talk to that person out of hand, and that swarming thing, we at least know all about it. So we thank you all, and thank you all for the generous super chats. And I think it's time for a little Sydney Sweeney. Germ, what do you think? Would you like to see maybe this picture again? Were you glad I made this for yesterday's show?
Oh, yeah, it helped with the binging and purging.
This one might be a little less offensive, and even this one, my God, this is sourced off a photograph. His hair really is like that. Do you have any comment on what the fuck they were thinking? We're going to punk Paul Giamatti. We're going to punk Paul Giamatti.
Let's see what weird stuff he'll do for a kilo.
Origami chicken. Oh, did he ad-lib that line? Kurtz was going to try to pawn that off and say he ad-libbed the line. And sexy grandma who still smokes. What is she thinking? Why do I make people watch this new Trek stuff, Jerm?
The word decent doesn't apply to me.
Well, it's time for us to go. We love you here, Sydney Sweeney. Guys, see you on Saturday at 9 p.m. for the main review, 8 p.m. Eastern time for Germ's Review here in the United States of America. We love you all.
Steam is better.
Sir. Dogs are better.
Sir, I have the man. Sir, my name is Raisin. $1 billion, sir. $1.1 billion.